Hey farm friends, I hope you're well. I want to start in the garden today for our cooking video because we're going to be using this guy here. Broccoli. I love broccoli, and I especially love broccoli that is grown in one's garden. It is a completely different taste in my opinion. The stem is so sweet and delicious. So anyways, let's get cooking. I'm very well aware that most people know how to cook broccoli. You can make a broccoli salad, which is so delicious in the summertime. You can make broccoli soup. Cheesy broccoli soup is delicious. What other things? You can just steam broccoli. There are so many ways to cook broccoli. Broccoli is super versatile. But today I'm just going to mix it up a little bit and maybe show you a new recipe you can make at home with very little effort and just to give you a new side, or you can make it into a meal, which is what I'll show you next. Okay, so today we're going to make a sauteed broccoli mixture. I don't have a recipe name for it. It's something my husband kind of came up with, and then we add pasta to it to make it into a dish. We call it veggie pasta, but you can just make it as the side, and then I can show you when to add the pasta in at the end. So first, I just kind of want to show you the broccoli. Usually when you get broccoli at a grocery store, it has a really thick stem, and it's very closed. When you harvest your own garden broccoli, you kind of get pieces like this. So they're not always closed, into a big stalk, which this part is totally fine. And these stems, which I talked about before, are delicious. They're so good. So I'm going to utilize all this stem as well as the head part of the broccoli. And if you didn't know, because I didn't know this either until I started growing our own, you see those little yellow buds there? If I did not harvest this would all open up into little yellow flowers. Isn't that awesome? So you're kind of eating a flower, not really, but anywho, so let's get started. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this broccoli down, put it in half, and then I'm just going to make them into small pieces. So the point is I want bite-sized pieces. I don't want to do this. This is kind of rule of thumb. I don't want them that big. I'm not going to consume and eat this big of a piece of broccoli. So you want to make sure that they're cut down into bite-sized pieces, which doesn't take long at all. Okay. Okie doke. So we're all set with the broccoli. Okay, I'm going to put the broccoli in this bowl here just because I have some other veggies that I need to chop up. So the next thing I'm going to add to our broccoli veggie stir fry, it's not a stir fry, just a saute, is some garlic. So this is garlic that we grew last year. And I'm just using one garlic clove for today for this. I don't want to make it too garlicky. And if you have never grown garlic is a great great aromatic to grow in your garden. It does take a while. My husband planted the garlic in October, and it will not be harvested until July. So it takes a while, but it multiplies. So the first year, I think we started literally with one bulb, and it multiplied. And then you take these little garlic, the bulbs themselves from this big head of garlic, and then you can replant them, and then they produce their own. So I think we started, like I said, with like 1 or 2 bulbs, and now we're up to, I think, 4 raised beds worth of garlic. So it really is a cool investment, but it's an investment over time, obviously. This is some asparagus from our garden. Now, I don't get enough asparagus to make a lot with, so this is just being added in today. And once again, I'm just cutting it up in bite-sized pieces. And asparagus is really good. What is it? It's not a diuretic. It's maybe it is. It's really good for your body. It's oh my goodness, I can't think of the word. It cleans you out. I'll just say it that way. It cleans you out. I wish I was getting these from my garden, but I am not yet. But a tomato. So this is, unfortunately, is from the store, but I need the tomatoes to add to the taste. So if I don't have the tomatoes in there, I just think it lacks flavor. So I am adding these for juiciness. This next ingredient is optional. Actually, the next 2 ingredients are optional. First is a cheese stick. I'm a cheeseaholic. I know some of you can't have dairy though, so you can just omit this step. This is just something I like to add. It's a guilty pleasure. So cheese stick. Another ingredient that y'all probably, most people are like, ew, I hate those. Why do you have those? Once again, another option that you can omit, I just love the flavor of it, is olives. Oh my gosh, I am an olive fanatic. So these I'm going to have to pit. They taste better when they have the pits in them than already pitted. So I will do that later. I won't do that on video, but I'll do that later. So just to recap, I've got the tomatoes. I left them on the cutting board because we're going to add those later. I have the broccoli, asparagus, and some garlic cut up in this bowl. I have the lone cheese stick, and I have a few olives in there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get our pan all set up. So this is it's a cast iron pan. It's like a, okay, there we go. It is a thin cast iron pan. I don't remember the name of it, but my husband and I went to culinary school a long time ago, and my husband works in a professional kitchen. So we do not have showy pans. This is a pan that my husband would use where he works. And this is great for sauteing, for cooking, like if you're like searing or browning like tuna with a seasoning. This pan is perfect for those items. I know you folks probably do not have a pan like this in your house. If you ever want to buy one, restaurant stores where we get pans like this at these professional grade pans. But if not, you can just use any type of saute pan. Real quick, while my pan heats up, let's talk about oil. Canola oil, that's what we normally use. It has a high smoke point, so that means the oil's not gonna burn. Olive oil, we get this is from Greece. It is delicious, it's great. However, it does not have the high smoke point, so I do not recommend sauteing with it. Canola oil is the way to go, or you can do other oils too, like I think sunflower oil or safflower oil, different ones as well. Okay, let's go check the pan out. Okay, as you see, this is smoking. It doesn't take long. And then my oil, you see how it runs real quick? If it's slow, it's not ready. The way it's running now, it's all set. I'm actually going to turn it down just a little bit and turn on my hood fan so I don't cause the smoke alarm to go off. Okay, now we can get to cooking. Okay, so we're going to put all this in, these veggies. And you hear it sizzle. That is perfect. And I guess I'm going to use a silicone rubber spatula for now. You can use a wooden spoon. You can use tongs. So what this is going to do is going to cook up real quick over this high heat. And this is great because we're not adding piles of oil and butter and whatnot. We're just cooking it real fast. The color is going to change here and get nice and green. Greener than what it is now, I should say. Okay, I'm turning the heat up again, just so it gets a little hotter. I don't know if you can see it. Try to push it forward. There is some darker spots. So you see it's already browning up nice. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of salt and pepper just to give it some flavor. There goes the salt. Pepper in there. So now this would be the part is if you wanted to make this into a meal, I would get a second pan out. I'd only use about half of this. And then I would add some penne, like cooked penne pasta or rigatoni pasta. And then we put it in the pan, add more oil, and actually like crisp the pasta up with the veggies. And it is super good. My kids, like, they request it every week because are we having veggie pasta? Now, to be truthful, they eat mostly just the pasta and the cheese inside, but sometimes they'll eat a piece of broccoli in there, so it's worth a try, right? As long as we get a couple bites here and there for our kiddos, it's better than nothing. Okay, this is looking good. The garlic's getting nice and brown. Now, if you notice, I didn't put the garlic in by itself because that heat was so high. I didn't want it to burn. But it's getting a nice crispy outside. Let me just show it to you one more time again. You see how nice and green it is now. This is looking great. Okay, so when it's getting done like this, it's almost ready. We're going to add the tomatoes in. So the reason why I didn't add the tomatoes earlier was because it would not have sauteed up as nice because of the tomatoes having all that moisture. So now the tomatoes are going to just release a little moisture and then just add some juiciness to this. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. Okay, while that finishes up, let me get this cheese stick cut up real quick. And I did cut a few olives. Sorry if you don't like them. Okay, now I'm going to add the cheese sticks in and the olives at the end. And we'll go ahead and give this a stir here. So when my cheese sticks melt, it's pretty much an indication that this is ready. You can see how nicely it's cooked up by now. I love when cheese gets dark like that. That is like the best way to eat it, in my opinion. Usually I add more cheese in this, but you know, I'm going to be eating most of this, and you know, it's not too healthy to eat like 3 cheese sticks in a serving. So 1 will do. I totally keep forgetting that I have fresh herbs in the garden. Well, when I say fresh herbs, basil. I have basil. I'm going to chiffonade, which I talked to you about in another video. So I'm going to chiffonade a few pieces of basil here, and then I'm going to top that off. Here's our bowl. Here is the broccoli and asparagus saute. Get those nice pieces of crusty cheese in there. Okay, and then we'll top off with the purple basil. And here we go. A wonderful side dish to go with chicken or maybe a hamburger or a steak. Or you can just add some pasta, split this up, add the pasta, and make it just a veggie pasta dinner. Okay, let me give this a try. Let me grab a fork. Hopefully it's not too hot. I want to try to get a little bit of everything. So let's see. A piece of broccoli. I'm going to get the broccoli stem. Of course, a piece of cheese. And where's the asparagus? It's hard to tell the difference between the asparagus and the tomato, or the broccoli stems. That screams summer. That tastes delicious. I know it's not summer yet, but between the basil and the fresh broccoli, and it's so sweet. The broccoli is so good. And just the hint of tomato in there. It's awesome. So next week here in Pennsylvania, next week is when the strawberries come in. My daughter has been picking a few strawberries from her garden, but it's just like 3 or 4 a day. But around here next week, they should all be popping in. So my hope for next week's video is to get out my canner and get ready to make some strawberry jam and strawberry jelly. My kids and my husband have been awaiting this moment for a long time because we are sick. We ran out and we are sick of eating store-bought jelly. So I hope to see you folks next week. Have a great day. Take care.